Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
Sapphira Cristál, Miss Congeniality. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Will.
So, you must be the only queen who's classically trained opera singer and composer, right?
Uh, yes, I think that is, yes, both at the same time. Yes, I think so.
That is pretty impressive. I think that's like so cool. Uh, I'm assuming you'll be incorporating some of the opera on this upcoming tour.
Maybe a little bit, but
A
not too
little bit.
much. I've done tours where I sang opera. Actually, I sing opera in every single tour I've done. And this is gonna be primarily stand-up comedy. We're just gonna be telling jokes, feeling, and relating to each other in this new way.
I like it. You have to pay homage to the opera a little bit because no other queen is doing that.
Well, Monet is doing it, but like we're doing it in different ways, and we do
Yeah.
it together sometimes. So it's fun to incorporate it, find ways to incorporate it in my comedy. It has been very exciting.
I like the title of the tour, One Slew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, I
So,
actually was named by Roxy Andrews. She was making fun of the way I walk because clearly it's a thing, and RuPaul, called it that. RuPaul and Michelle Visage love to call me Slewfoot, and she goes, "Girl, you in that Slewfoot? One slew over the cuckoo's nest. That's what your show should be called." And I was like, "Stolen."
yeah. So what could people expect on the tour? Because you have a bunch of dates in March. So what could people expect? You said it's going to be primarily stand-up comedy. So what are you going to cover? Like, give a little preview.
So we have a bunch of dates in March. We have a bunch of dates in April as well, and there is and the more and more we keep going, the more things keep opening up. So just keep looking out. If I'm not in your town right now, if you haven't seen that I'm in your city, I might be. So keep your eyes out for those. Um, I talk about all sorts of things that matter to me. I talk about flying a lot. I since being on Drag Race, I have been flying all over, and that is just an exciting and hilarious experience. Flying from the East Coast all the way to Australia is
Ooh.
maddening, but at least it made me a lot of money, but also it made me it gave me a lot of material to work with because there were some experiences I had. There's I talk about the fact that when I got to Australia, Australia's so white that when I got to Australia, the number of black people tripled. It's just a real white and lovely place, and the people there are quite amazing. But there's sometimes they're like, "Is that a famous black person from America, or did they steal that seat?"
So you're like an endangered species down there.
Oh yeah, very much so.
So where do the stories come from? Do you have a lot of material from Australia, or is it a lot of post-Drag Race material?
It's all over. There's some stuff that's just about my family, some stuff that's just about my friends, and there. I mean, I talk about us as Americans and like the way we learned things coming up. It's all over the place. There is a through line. It is basically the through line is this is some crazy stuff that we're living all the
Oh
time,
yeah.
and not even just the recent stuff that's going on right now. That's hot right now. I want that to cool down a little bit. But it's more about like just all the things that we've learned in our life. Just, from people, when you lose weight, all of a sudden you can make fun of other fat people. When you're taking, um,
Oh,
I'm observing, I observe, all sorts of people's actions and the way that they interact with their kids. And there's just a lot going on in this show. But the show is just about Have you ever seen those memes where someone's looking over and then there's like a kid in a bouncy house and he's just like peeing in the balls, and then there's another one and they're just flipping around, and it's just basically all these different videos from these different like viral videos,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, like all the different squares, yeah.
that's basically what this show is. Just like, okay, and oh, okay, yeah.
So you're gonna be covering a lot of relatable life shit, basically.
Oh yeah, everybody can relate to everything that's in this show.
That's gonna be fun. And I'm assuming you're also gonna incorporate some of the current, make light on some of the current chaos that we're
Oh,
living through.
you know, yeah, it's that's been some of the harder stuff to work on because um
Trying to make it funny. I know, yeah.
trying to make that stuff funny because it's just not that funny. It is it's it's funny, interesting, but not funny, haha. And our task is to make it funny, haha, so that we can laugh. Because if we don't laugh, we what? Cry. And
Right.
so
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I'm done crying. I'm ready to laugh, and that's kind of one of the reasons why our president is such a joke to everyone, because and I love the fact that we continue to laugh at him, and people are like, no, this is serious, we can't laugh at him. No, you have to laugh at him.
You
You have
have
to
to,
laugh at what's
yeah.
going on, because you can't make it so serious that you're debilitated by it. When you can laugh at someone, you can do what you can now face them and say, you're not that big and bad.
Yeah. I mean, if
And
you can't laugh at it, you have to laugh at it because otherwise you'll get consumed with anger because it's infuriating, really, all the
I
shit that.
mean, yeah, but like you're also not only are you consumed with anger, but you feel like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
But when
helpless.
you laugh at it, you're like, oh, I can fix this. Oh, I
Yeah.
can do something about this. Oh, I can vote. Oh, I can call somebody and make a change. You know what I mean? But when you don't laugh, when you take it too seriously, it's just like this is life. This is what we're dealing with, and I'm too afraid of this and this. You're not afraid of things that you laugh at.
Yeah, I mean, you have to laugh at the fact that it feels more conservative now than it did fucking 15 years ago. Like, where are we going? Is it like some parallel universe? Because I saw a tweet the other day. It was about Lady Gaga's Born This Way, and it
Hmm.
was like when this came out in 2011, this was not controversial, but if it came out today, people would be losing their minds. And I'm like, damn, that is kind of fucking true.
That is true. But I mean, you think about who was in office, who was in charge during that time. What was the message that was being spread around the world at that time? And it was acceptance. It was belonging. It was everyone belongs in this planet, and we just need to work together. And now the message being spread around the world, it's me against you. It's
Yeah.
you or them. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why it would have be so controversial if it came out now. And you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, it's more conservative, or more conservative than it was 15 years ago, but not than it was 40 years ago.
Or yeah.
And so you have to think about the fact that these things just keep going in circles, and because we allow our administrators in the government to just hide the history of things
I know.
and rewrite history, we never learn, and we never see the parallels. And then when someone says, hey, there's a parallel here, people go, oh, sure, nerd, and they laugh at the person who has the
Yeah,
information. All of a sudden, being smart and having information is a bad thing, and I just
no.
don't understand what's going on here.
Well,
But
that's why that's why the world is the way it is today, is exactly like you said. Like, is being smart should be a flex, not like a something that people are like, what about?
it should be a flex, but the way that some people flex it is not inviting. You know what I mean? I want to
Yeah.
learn things, but I don't want to learn it from this asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I want to learn it from this guy who makes learning exciting and makes it feel like I can actually grasp what he's saying, not some guy who feels like he needs to use all these words to say this one sentence that could have really hooked me in and could have gotten me to learn a lot more. Then I just and then the attitude that some people have
Oh, I
is
know. Yeah.
so wild, because I don't understand how you want me to learn something, but you call me a dumbass at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that makes you want to check out by default. If you make someone feel stupid, it's like I'm checked out now.
Or
Bye.
even so someone feel insulted,
Yeah.
they check out immediately. Anyone, if you insult me, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're right. I'm out. And that's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth of being a human. We don't care if you're right. If you make me feel bad about it, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because that's just the human nature. Our bodies don't want us to be in this situation anymore. Our hearts hurt. Our minds hurt. Our emotions are down. We don't want to be here anymore. I'm checked out. I figured out, and we have, we've gotten to a place where we can just like tune out. We can hear you and go, mm-hmm, yeah, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Then walk away and goes, that was an asshole. And I didn't hear a word he said, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because he
So
was
right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like another good point. Like the education needs to come from someone who is charismatic and wants people, you know, the old guard needs to go down, basically, like they say.
I think fortunately we have a lot of comedians, myself included, who are well versed and well informed on things, and they can make information funny. And when you laugh at something, you tend to retain it as well. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so um, that's the fortunate part about that. It's unfortunate that we have to have entertainers to be the also educators nowadays because people in their phones so much that if you have an um, educational video, they're like, this better be funny or this better grab me in some way. And it's like, this could help you. You could be well over your, you could get out of poverty if you just watch this one video. And they're like, yeah, but it wasn't interesting.
I
But it didn't make me laugh.
It didn't get my attention in 30 seconds, so I'm out.
So
Peace.
I'm out. And it's like, girl, all right, well, dick, 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 ha ha ha. You know what I mean? I'll make you laugh, but so I try to do a little bit of education at the same time. But it's not like I'm tricking you with education. It's just like I find certain things about even our country to be hilarious, and so we do talk about that in the show as well.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. And congratulations, because I understand you're gonna be honored by the Human Rights Campaign on March 7th with the
Yes.
Visibility Award.
Yes, the Philadelphia HRC is honoring me with the Visibility Award, which is just gorgeous. I really appreciate it. And I actually recently did a lecture at a high school called Westtown, and it was just beautiful. And I have so much hope now because there are schools that are teaching um, their students equity and belonging, not inclusion, but belonging. Like we belong here, not just that we're included here, not that you're invited into my space, but we all are here, and this is all of our space, and we all belong here. And that was beautiful to see and to know that there are young kids who are going into this world, lots of young kids who are going into this world with that kind of centering is beautiful to know.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
It gives me so much hope.
Yeah, that's really great, especially being honored by the HRC. Like that's a good, that's a big feat. That's nice.
Yeah, the HRC is, they're doing their big one every day, trying to make sure that people are taken care of and making sure that people are represented all over. And I'm glad to be honored by them.
Yeah, no,
That's
kudos.
exactly what I represent.
Exactly. And your story, I feel, is very inspirational. And I want to like talk about it a little bit because I know while you were pursuing Dragon in school, like correct me if I'm wrong with the details, but your father had stopped providing financial support, and in turn, you really couldn't pay for housing, education, and you ended up basically homeless for a year. I you weren't out in the street, but you were basically couch surfing and living with changing homes with other people like for a year straight until you got like some assistance in Provincetown for a
Yeah,
job in housing, right?
yeah. And basically what happened was I ended up homeless. I ended up going and living with a person who I'd never met before in my life. And she took me in for a couple of months, and then a friend of mine was like, you need to stay with me. You can stay on my couch. So I only stayed in two homes. Like there was only two places I lived. But during that time, I really it was a little rough going on. It was rough to happen. But then eventually I went to Provincetown. I was in a play in Provincetown, and the director was like, okay, I'll pay for your first month's rent. And then by the time your second month's rent is due, you'll be fine because you'll have this job and it'll help you for the rest of the year. And then I got back on my feet. But it was touch and go there for a while, but I never gave up. I never give up because I have always had a very, very blessed life.
Yeah.
And even when and I learned a long time ago that when these hard trials and these hard times come, it's just, strengthening me to receive the blessings and receive the good things that are coming into my life. You have to be ready for them because sometimes you get those good things in your life, you're not ready, and you fumble that
Fumble the
opportunity.
bag, yeah. But that's a very like interesting story. I give you credit because that could really break someone.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, someone was able to help you out to be able to, get up on your feet. Did your father cut you off because of the drag specifically?
Uh, Technically, yes.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry about that. Where do you guys stand today?
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're
Okay. That's
we're yeah, we talk fairly. We used to talk more often, but I'm just very busy now. But
yeah, of course.
we talk fairly often. My dad, who also cut me off at some point, died. So my biological father was the father, and then my dad is my dad who raised me since I was 10 months old. And he died of COVID about 5 years ago now. And it was, we actually also made up before, right before he died, like 2 months before he died. Um, Before he even got COVID, we like made up. And I was like, wow, okay, that was this was clearly going to happen. And so, um, the Lord made it possible that we could just reconcile our differences um, real quick
Yeah.
before he passed away.
Wow, wow. I'm glad you made peace with both,
Yeah,
honestly. But that is tough. I give you credit for that. Because I mean, you see, especially in our community, like situations like that could break someone. They become an addict, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. And I
uh,
mean, I wouldn't say I was, on some level, I became an addict as well. I started, I started numbing my pain with marijuana and sometimes alcohol, mostly marijuana. Um, and eventually I got into cocaine, and now I can say that I'm 7 years sober of all three. And
good.
it's just
Congratulations.
really, thank you. And it's just really lovely to know that I said to myself, you started this because you were going through a rough time. You were going through a hard time, so you started smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
no longer going through a hard time. You can stop. So I stopped.
Yeah.
And then my life got so much better even then from where I was kind of just like stagnant. I wasn't even like I wasn't even just like falling or anything. I was just stagnant, and the things I wanted weren't happening. And I was like, you need to stop all of these things. You need to get this out of your way so you can really focus on what you want. And I did, and the second I stopped, it went, and I've never looked back since.
Yeah, and then eventually it led you to season 16 of Drag Race, runner-up, fan favorite, and now we got the tour popping off.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This is my fifth tour since I was on Drag Race.
oh
Um,
damn, wow. That's
Yeah, I
great.
mean fifth tour of sorts. So like I did a tour in Australia, one in the UK. I did Christmas tour with Murray and Peter, which was fabulous. I did my own tour, the Crystal Ball tour, and then last year I did the Hocus Pocus tour. So this is actually my going to be my sixth tour.
Oh, that's great. Of all the tours you did so far, not counting this one coming up, what one did you enjoy the most?
I would say Hocus Pocus because I enjoyed being with Jujubee and Ginger Minge and Landon Cider, and we just like and the entire like crew and the entire crew, and it was just like this one little big family, and we were all in one bus, and it just it was really just fabulous to be in that sort of environment. Um, and there was there's the but I just like touring. So like
Yeah.
honestly, I like them all, but of them all, the one I liked the most was probably Hocus Pocus, which is the most recent.
Yeah, and I like the theme for that too.
Yeah, yeah, the Hocus Pocus. I mean, did you get to see the show?
No, I
So
wish.
it's basically a not even it's basically a sequel of Hocus Pocus 2. So it's like it's honestly you could call it Hocus Pocus 3 if you want,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like gives that energy. It doesn't even give the we're not doing the other two shows. We're literally it's a whole new
Whole new
experience.
production. Yeah. So that's great. And you're booked through March and April. And I imagine like the tour is going to be adding more dates as the year goes on as well.
Yeah, we might come back in the fall. There's a lot. There's a lot up in the air when it comes to this. But right now we have March and April, and there's just more not there's a lot up in the air. There's a lot of possibilities out there for us.
Having been on Drag Race, do you still watch the show today? And overall, not counting just this season, who's your favorite queen right now?
Ugh, that's a hard question.
I know.
I love everyone so much, and I'm friends with most of them. So it's really hard to say who my favorite is. I love Jujubee like a lot. She's very multifaceted. She can sing, she can act, she can not dance that well, but that's okay because we're she can sing and act, and she's got so much in those areas that this area doesn't really matter that much. Sorry. I'm a big fan of Bob the Drag Queen.
Oh, I
Um,
love Bob. Oh my God, I love Bob.
yeah, Bob is a person who basically was able to know who they are to such a degree that they can just make anything they want happen.
Yeah, he deserved to go so much further on the traders. I was so pissed.
Exactly. Like, and honestly, it would have been more entertaining because
Yeah.
like after Bob left, it was just like,
That season, last season, season three, I think was the worst because they voted off all the entertaining people in the first few episodes. I was
yeah,
like, come on.
which is like,
I think they were voting by who they thought was going to steal their camera time as opposed to who they thought was a real traitor.
yes, which honestly, it doesn't matter who steals your comment time if no one's watching.
Yeah.
If no one's watching because you got rid of the entertaining people, then no one's gonna be watching. I don't know who won.
It was four very boring cast members. Yeah.
I
After
know I know who got to, I know who got to after Bob left. I stopped watching.
Yeah, yeah, I know, me too. Yeah. I just wanted to see Bob and some of the housewives, but all the good ones got voted off and Bob, and I'm like, check, I'm out of this.
Yeah, I'm out.
Checked out. But now he's in Moulin Rouge on Broadway, so
Exactly, and that's one of the things that Bob moved to New York and wanted to be on Broadway, and like they, this is a fabulous prime lesson in patience. It's like I'll get what I need when I'm ready for it, and they got it when they were ready for it, and now they're killing it on Broadway, and that's why they're one of my favorite. They're probably one of my favorites because they just do what they want to do, and they know there's a way to do it and they figure out a way to make it happen. They don't have this sort of reservation of, well, maybe this isn't right for me. They're like, no, I'm going to do this. I like to do this. And so I'll just start doing it.
yeah. Yeah. Would you ever want to do Broadway? Is that like
Yeah, of
your bucket
course. I
list?
have a lovely voice and
Yeah,
would love to do
I'm
Broadway.
saying like opera, so you belong on Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, I love opera more than I do like musicals. But I have done a lot of musicals and I would love to do Broadway.
Nice. Well, maybe that's in the near future.
Yeah,
Never know.
hopefully so.
So this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to make it out to one of the dates of one Slue over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yay, please.
I'm so looking forward to that. And congrats again on HRC award coming up.
Thank you so much.
So this has been fun. Thanks for joining me today, and hopefully I'll get to meet you in like the near future.
Yeah. Whenever you see me, just say, hey. Give me a hug. Actually, let's do a little exercise I like to do it with everyone I meet and every show I do. So put your hands up in the air, wave them, and then wrap them around yourself. Breathe in deep, and then exhale. I truly love and accept myself. I truly love and accept myself.
Really love and accept myself.
One more time. I truly love and accept myself.
I truly love and accept myself.
How's that feel?
Good, like a cleansing, like a therapeutic cleansing. I like it.
Yeah, I love it, and I like to do it with everyone. I try to pass it along. I want everyone to know that no matter what happens to you, no matter what anybody has to say to or about you, always remember to truly love and accept who you are, when you are, where you are, how you are, because we're all perfect today.
Oh, I like that. Good vibes only with you. Good vibes only. So thank you again. This has been so much fun, and I'll blow up your notifications when everything comes out in the magazine and on the podcast and all of that.
Awesome. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.